fast as the leopard, quiet as the moon. At 17, he moved like wind, thought like a trickster, and left only silence behind. The golden thief feared nothing but daylight. But in the village of Tima, where the baobabs grow wider than huts and the elders speak in riddles, there lived a boy who would learn that some hungers can never be satisfied. In the coastal village of Tima, where the Atlantic crashes against black rocks and the air tastes of salt and fish, everyone knew the name Otto. They whispered it with equal parts admiration and fear. By 15, he had stolen the silver anklets from the chief's youngest wife while she bathed in the river. By 16, he had taken the ivory comb from the high priestess's hair during the festival of drums, and she didn't notice until the dancing stopped 3 hours later. Otto was beautiful in his skill. He moved through crowds like smoke through a basket, untouchable and shapeless. The other boys envied him. The girls giggled when he passed. The men shook their heads and remembered their own youth. But Otto's father, a fisherman named Kojo, watched his son with eyes full of sorrow. Kojo had once been a thief too. In his youth, he had stolen from markets and shrines, from friends and strangers alike. But one night, he stole a sacred drum from the temple of Mommy Water, and the water goddess cursed him. His hands, once so quick and clever, became clumsy. He dropped nets. He fumbled with ropes. He could no longer even tie his own cloth properly. The sea, which had once provided for his family, turned cold toward him. The curse was subtle but complete. He tried to warn Otto many times. But the boy had inherited his father's pride along with his hands. The village elders spoke often of the Forbidden Grove, a place 3 miles inland where the jungle grew so thick that daylight became a memory. Deep within that grove stood a single tree, taller than all others, a tree with bark like burnished copper and leaves that shimmered even in darkness. They called it the Sky Tree, and at its base, cradled between ancient roots, sat a calabash god painted with symbols older than language itself. Legend said the calabash contained the breath of the first storm, the wind that had separated sky from earth at the dawn of creation. Whoever drank from it would gain the speed of lightning, the strength of thunder, and the sight of eagles. They would become something more than human. But the elders also warned that the calabash was guarded by the forest spirit, a being with no name and no face, a presence that existed between heartbeats and shadows. No one who had gone seeking the calabash had ever returned. Otto heard the stories and felt the familiar itch in his palms. This wasn't about gold or silver or ivory. This was about becoming legend. This was about stealing something so valuable that even death itself would stand aside in awe. The night before he planned to leave, Otto sat with his father by the fire outside their hut. The old man was mending a net, his fingers slow and uncertain, dropping the cord repeatedly. The silence between them was heavy with all the words they'd never properly spoken. "I was you once," Kojo finally said, not looking up from his work. "I thought I could take anything. I thought the world was mine to plunder." He paused, his hand still. "Then I learned that some things take back." Otto felt something crack inside his chest, something small and sharp. He loved his father. He loved him fiercely. He saw the broken man before him, the ghost of greatness worn down by a single mistake. Part of him wanted to stay, to abandon the plan, to be content with what he had already stolen. But the larger part, the hungry part, the part that had been fed on praise and thrill and the electric joy of getting away with the impossible, that part was already walking toward the grove. That part was already reaching for the calabash. "I'm faster than you were, father," Otto said quietly. "I'm better." Kojo looked at his son then, really looked at him, and his eyes were full of grief that tasted like salt water. "That's what I thought too," he whispered. Otto left before dawn. The journey to the Forbidden Grove took hours. The path disappeared after the first mile, and he had to navigate by instinct, following the pull in his chest that told him where treasure waited. The jungle grew denser with each step. Vines hung like ropes from trees that blocked out the sun. The air became thick, difficult to breathe, heavy with the smell of rotting vegetation and something else, something ancient and aware. When he finally reached the Sky Tree, he stopped. It was more magnificent than the stories had described. The trunk was wider than 5 men standing with arms linked. The roots spread across the clearing like the fingers of a giant's hand, and there, cradled in the palm of those roots, sat the calabash. It was smaller than he'd expected, no larger than a coconut, painted with spirals and symbols that seemed to move when he wasn't looking directly at them. There was no guardian. No monster. No spirit. Just the calabash and the silence and Otto's own thundering heart. He approached slowly, every sense alert for danger. But nothing stopped him. Nothing appeared. He reached the calabash and knelt before it, his fingers trembling with anticipation. He could feel power radiating from it, warm and electric against his skin. He lifted it. It was light, almost weightless. He unplugged the stopper, a piece of cork wrapped in dried leaves. Inside, the calabash was filled with something that looked like liquid silver, swirling and alive. Otto raised it to his lips. That was the moment everything changed. The liquid touched his tongue, and it tasted like lightning and rain and the space between stars. He swallowed. The silver poured down his throat, cold and burning at the same time. He swallowed again, greedily, drinking deeply. But the calabash didn't empty. It kept pouring. Otto tried to pull it away from his mouth, but his hands wouldn't obey. The liquid kept flowing, faster now, filling his throat, his chest, his stomach. He was drowning on dry land, drowning in sky and wind, an ancient power that was never meant for human vessels. His body began to change. His skin turned translucent, then transparent. Through his chest, you could see clouds forming. His bones became hollow like a bird's. His eyes filled with storms. He tried to scream, but the sound that came out was thunder. Otto was becoming sky. The calabash was taking him instead of giving to him. He was the price for his own greed. In Tima, they found the calabash 3 days later, sitting at the edge of the village, empty and clean. Otto never returned. But on clear nights, when the wind blows in from the ocean, the elders gather the children and point to a small, bright star that flickers irregularly above the horizon. That's Otto, they say. The boy who wanted to steal the sky and got swallowed by it instead. The lesson is simple: etched in starlight, you can reach for anything you want, but some things reach back. Greed doesn't just take what you steal. It takes who you are. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button below for more videos like this. See you next time.